Good morning and welcome back to the Red Mic. Thanks for joining me. Wednesday. Been in Houston all week. So ready to go home. I know I said I wasn't going to throw this place under the bus, but I am. Stayed at the Sonesta on Sam Houston. Can only hope it gets better. I won't be staying here anytime soon, I promise you. Goodness gracious. Bad management, understaffed. Staff who's here is working their tail off, but come on. You know, I went up and down 2 floors trying to find an ice machine that was working. Only found one on the lobby floor. So, finally, all 3 elevators started working yesterday. When I first 2 days, it was just one of them that was working. So that's my rant. Started that off. Ready to go home. Anyway, again, thanks for joining me. These Red Mic messages are leadership and life lessons that I've picked up from 25 years as a public servant, 16 years as a youth football coach, 10 years as a mediocre athlete with far more heart than actual physical ability, and for the last 3 days, a really frustrated traveler. Today's Red Mic message. I understand the job market's tight. I really do. And I've been there. You know, you're frustrated. You're really trying hard to find a new job, a replacement job maybe. Goodness knows how long you've been looking. Hey, I got an interview. Well, okay, congrats, first of all. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, didn't like the t-shirt, didn't fit. And then I ended up in a job where realized my boss's boss, awful, rotten, dirty liar, and then I spent the next year and a half trying to get the heck out of there. So, pig in a poke kind of thing, right? Sometimes, yeah, and it paid the bills for a while, and, you know, but it was just such a soul-draining place to be at. And unfortunately, none of these red flags popped up during the interview. Interview went great. You know, the job posting was clear. You know, there are red flags that you can look for, but sometimes they don't show up until after you already got the job. But let's go into it just a little bit here. Sorry about that. As you know, I'm on the road. So, all right. First of all, if they say stuff like in the interview, well, we're a family. Well, I've got friends in business. I've got friends in my office, but they're not family. Family's family. Don't let them blur the line. Because ultimately, more often than not, and I would say 99% of the time, the we are family people, they're going to end up using that as a lack of respect for your personal time, for your real family time. And at the end of the day, family is family, and your job is your job. You work to live, you don't live to work. And after you pass away, if you died tomorrow, they'd have a job posting up probably by the end of the week. Okay? Your family's going to feel that loss forever. So don't buy into the we are family rhetoric. It's just not true. If the interview process takes multiple rounds, now, if it's a CEO type role, yeah, you might end up having to meet a lot of people and jump through a lot of hoops. But mid-manager or even high upper manager, if it's more than 3-4 rounds, that's a place that just doesn't know what it needs, doesn't know what it wants. They could be disorganized, or they could just be wasting your time. If the job description is vague or unclear, if it I'll be honest with you. Before I got my newest job, if there wasn't a salary in the posting, I ignored it. Um, because more often than not, commensurate. What does that mean? It means, oh, we're going to lowball you and try to get the absolute lowest price we can out of you. Or if they do the other red flag of, well, what's your salary? Okay, well, what's the job pay? Well, we're not saying. Well, then I'm not saying. Goodbye. And just walk out the door. I mean, if they're not going to be willing to, share information both ways. And first of all, second of all, your salary, frankly, is irrelevant. It just is. If they are using your salary as a guide on how much they could pay you, should pay you, they're being dishonest and disingenuous. Your salary has no bearing whatsoever. They post a salary and you say, yeah, I'm willing to work for that. And then that's all that should matter. Maybe you're going from a place where you were painfully underpaid and you want to go someplace else and get a better job, get a better paying job. Maybe you were overpaid for where you were, but you don't like it because it's a toxic environment and you're wanting to get out. Neither of those cases matter. Your salary, frankly, is irrelevant to their needs, to what they need to find out. And if they try to tell you differently, don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. Okay? Just don't. Yeah, I'm a little salty this morning and I don't care. If they make promises during the interview, don't sign on the dotted line unless those promises are above that dotted line in writing. Because your best opportunity to negotiate for anything that they've promised you happens before they get you in that door. Once you're in there, you're going to be stuck to the annual 3 to 5%, raises and maybe the occasional bonus. But, once they've got you in the door, they're not going to be, more often than not, they're not going to be forthcoming with any big pay raises, any big promotions, anything like that. So be comfortable with what's in writing before you sign and say, yes, I'm going to work here now. If they say they need you to hit the ground running, right? Often that's going to be a red flag because particularly if you're going in as a manager kind of position, you need to go in there and do some assessment first. You need to figure out what's going on. Hitting the ground running, yes, that doesn't mean that you immediately walk in and you're just glacial. You know how that amuses me. Consider your glacial pace. Yes, I'll give you my man card back. That is from Devil Wears Prada. So thank you to my bride for introducing that movie to me. I've watched it a jillion times. And yes, man card completely given up there. Hitting the ground running quite often means that they're understaffed or they have unrealistic expectations. Good onboarding, good support, it's important. Is doing, that's kind of a last but not least, because I'm having connection issues. If the interview process is really, really short, could just be that they're very desperate to fill the position. They don't value your time. Either way, that's a red flag because either they're not thorough, and if they're not thorough with you, chances are they weren't thorough with anybody else. Or if it's very, very short, you're probably meeting a quota. I interviewed once at a place where I looked on their org chart, I looked on their website. Every single person in the organization, except one, and this was 20, 30 people, every person on their staff was a woman. And they had one guy working there, and he was related to the owner. Honestly, I felt like I was a quota. Can I prove it? No. They did hire a woman for the position that I was amply qualified for, but it was a very short process. It was like, very cursory. They really didn't ask a lot of questions with any depth whatsoever. So, yeah, red flag if the interview is way too short. And don't forget, an interview is a two-way street. You should ask them questions too. You should get a good feel for the place, just like they're trying to get a good feel for you. If you see any of these red flags, throughout the process, unless you're just so desperate for a job that, you have to take whatever you get. But if you do that, you've got to understand that process is probably telling you a lot about what you're going to end up getting once you do sign on that dotted line and get in the joint. So that's today's Red Mike message. Would like to get some feedback from you guys. Recently heard that I need to add some humor and and I'm not sure what that means. I mean, I make, the occasional humorous to me comment, or I'll throw in a movie quote or something like that. But, if you're not sharing this with other folks, but you do watch it, what's keeping you from sharing? If you're not sharing, if you only watch this occasionally, what's keeping you from watching it? What do you want from me? This channel, it's about me, but it's also about you. So let me know what you think. Whether you send me an email, it's redmikemessages, all one word, redmikemessages@gmail.com, or drop me a line in the comments. Whether it's Facebook, Instagram, wherever we are, would love to hear from you. And as always, tomorrow I'll be back in the Red Mike studio, regular time, between 6:30 and 6:45ish. Because if I don't get done by 6:45, I'm not out the door by 7, and then Austin traffic just kicks me in the keister, right? So tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel, and the Red Mike will be back in the Red Mike studio. So I appreciate you. Thank you for listening. I'll see you again tomorrow. And don't forget, life is short. Drink the bourbon.